Hello, welcome to the Harrington Quality Management System, or HQMS, software overview. HQMS allows your team to quickly leverage best practices, leading to improvements in operational performance, reduction of errors, and increase your product quality. But I'm sure you heard a lot of people say that. We're going to talk about how we do it. How we do it by streamlining processes using the HQMS software. Your business will save time, money, and valuable resources, serving to positively impact the bottom line. The best way to tell how an app is designed, developed, and used is found in what I call the hidden functionality. What works behind the standard screens in most apps? Well, I shouldn't say in most apps. What happens in HQMS and is not in most apps is what we want to talk about. So quick housekeeping, because of the people joining us today, the number of them, the phones are muted. We would like to take some Q&A at the end, so if you have any questions, please put them into the questions block, and a copy of the presentation is available upon request. We'll show you the email at the end of the event. So for today's discussion, we're going to talk about, again, the HQMS Enterprise, which consists of 9 core modules and a variety of support tools. HQMS has been around for a long time. It's proven, reliable, and scalable. So, as I mentioned, instead of a traditional software demo of rapid fire clicking around screens and running through an enterprise app in 30 minutes, we've decided to discuss the business processes and functionality that our customers love. And we hope that after this event, you contact us to get a detailed software demo for the modules you're interested in. But for now, let's check this out. First of all, general features. HQMS has everything in the kitchen sink. Security, HTML5 compliant browsers, the ability to configure forms, labels, tables, robust reporting and charting, the ability to export information, integration with other apps. It's really the ability to bring this into a single thing. And the other good news is that after your team learns one of the HQMS modules, you've learned them all. Because the same UI, the same clicks, the same links, much better than trying to put together a bunch of different tools. This is over in the ERP app because it came with it. We stuck this in the PLM app because it seemed like it might work. We tried to do it in MES, but most of the people we're talking to they're still wrestling with spreadsheets. And any of those options are difficult for people to learn, adopt, and probably most importantly, remember. A lot of what we get is, boy, I haven't been in the app in months. And I went back in and I was up and running. I was functional. I remember how to do it and how to use it. So here's some of the basics. Behind a good product is good documentation. And HQMS has developed extensive help that's been created. And it's not just in the first name, enter the first name, field entry stuff. But it talks about workflows and processes and more. And there's tons of supporting material, single sign-on capability, software validation, 21 CFR 11 signatures. And for if you're worried about or you've been challenged before by our IT department, if all the security, ITAR compliance, if it's hosted, cloud security, all that just comes through it. I just went through due diligence with a very large company, IT department. And at the end of the conversation, the VP of IT said, that is the fastest due diligence I've ever had. You provide us with everything up front for even asking, before we even asked. So here's some of the things that we want to talk about. First of all, personalize, meaning set up the way you personally want to see it, not for everybody, but how you want it. So the first thing you see when you log in HQMS, it's personalized for every user. Under my modules, these are the modules you want to use frequently. You don't have to have every HQMS module, just the ones you're using. Your overdue items, real nice place to have. Quick access to records for which the deadline's passed. And my reports and charts. We'll talk about that a little bit more. But you can set up and put on your main menu reports that you run every week, every month, every quarter, or on demand, but all configured to it. So we're going to go through, and this is all on the main menu. The left arrow talks about rapid access. Let's take a look at them. So the first one is notifications. Notifications are how the system lets you know that a record that you're involved with has changed. HQMS notifies the originator and responsible users when a specific record changes state, in addition to users listed under the Access Control tab of that record. Different types of records, again, depending on which module in, undergo different state changes as they complete their life cycle. But notifications are meant to be reviewed and, if necessary, selected by clicking on it, all from the main menu, review in detail, and then close. Now again, personalization. So you want to see notification in a specific way. You can personalize those. You can both the text displayed and mouse over info is fast, effective single clicks. Again, just so make sure this is, I'm looking at this notification. I don't remember what it is. I can just hover over it and see a detail that the state of record change. This is what's going on. So very easy way to not just see them, but to hover and get the context. Task lists. Tasks are what make companies run. So you can review tasks assigned to you under My Task, and tasks that you create and assign to someone else, tasks that you requested. Tasks can be used almost everywhere to do almost anything. Collect information, perform duties, or do anything where an employee wants to assign a specific duty to another employee or group of employees. You define a due date and track the completion of that assignment. Tasks can be created from an existing record throughout all the modules, or you can create a standalone task record, which isn't associated with it. On any task record, you can indicate whether you require a response. The bottom line, if you assign something, it's not going to fall through the cracks. Responsibilities. A quick way to formally take ownership, track due dates, and review the status. Each action type in every module has someone assigned being responsible for that record. The person is considered having ownership of the record and is responsible for ensuring that others who need to collaborate on that record have access to it, and that any due dates are done in a timely manner. The other thing that's cool, if you notice on the screen, they're also color-coded. So you'll see the red ones are overdue, the tan ones are coming soon. Again, just a quick visual way to see what's going on. Signatures, big issue with a lot of people. Records that you are requesting, you don't have to do it on everyone, but you can request electronically sign or e-sign is under the signature section from, again, all modules in one place. Once you click on a link to record, sign, or approve, it'll appear on the stage you need to approve. Again, this is all where all the 21 CFR compliance goes. Employees. If you're responsible for other employees, you can use this section to monitor progress on their records. It basically displays the employee names and status counts for all their tasks, responsibility, and requests. Each name is linked to individual records. So again, if you're responsible for other employees, you can use this section to monitor their progress on their records. When expanded, the employee section displays the employees' names and status for all their tasks, responsibilities, signature requests, etc. If you are one of your direct employees is a manager that has employees, we can do the branch down on that. This one-click review of what's going on with tasks, I've had customers, say, this used to take me 2 hours a day to just figure out who's working on what and where they're at. I now have it at my fingertips. One-click review. Module functionality. And don't worry, there's a whole bunch of things in the app. But again, this is where you can go in and create what you want on your homepage. So if these are the modules you work on, you personalize it to be the way you want to see it. Main menu, recently viewed option. Another one. Well, why is this important? You get a call from somebody asking about something or just working on, very quickly, one click away. So it's basically a lot like the history feature of an internet browser. It's all the records in the order in which you last accessed them. Again, just a quick way to jump back on something that you're just working on. Company library. This is an interesting one. Now that we put all these documents into a document management system, how do we give people access to them? So the HQMS company library is a method for arranging and presenting all these documents. Admin users will configure the main structure and the documents and the books and all that. And basically, anytime you get a document from the library, the system displays the current version. So there's no more what's the current version issue either. Go to the library. Why is this important? Because what our customers have told us is that their employees are used to seeing documents organized in this manner. It makes it easier, faster for them to find what they're looking for. And of course, more savvy users can always go to the document list and filter and filter and all that. Well, the next question is that I get all the time is, boy, sure it'd be nice if my employees could access this information without having to log into HQMS. Well, lo and behold, they can. The HQMS document library allows access to anyone without requiring a license. No hassle with setting up an account, a login, a password, just find the document. This is another one that the HQM customers love. We've been told that in some of our accounts, when people are asked, do you have this document, or who's got the document, what's the current version? The response they have is, have you looked in the library? Again, no license required. Required documents. By the way, we're still on the main menu. We haven't left the main menu yet. But these are documents that have been assigned to you for action. Training records, for example. Every group must review the documents. And yes, there's a record of who reviewed the documents as part of the training process. Configuration. Don't want to go through a lot of stuff, but this is just more and more stuff that your IT group, your admin, your power users will need. But again, they often forget to ask when they're doing a demo of looking at things. Well, boy, that's great. I didn't think about that. And here's a classic example. Reassign records. This is one that everyone needs, but they don't know they need it until they need it. Someone left the company, someone's on vacation, someone on sick or medical leave. This is how I quickly reassign records. And again, the challenge that people are wrestling with is, I don't know, Susie left. I don't know what they were working on. She had some spreadsheets that she was keeping track of something, or I don't know where it is. Get rid of all that. Put it all in a single app. Now, for the IT group and data security questions, yes, there's a complete audit trail. Users can view modification within the individual records and the system configuration. The items track who made the change, the old value, the new value, and when it occurred. Configuration by module. All right, so more on configuration, or how you get it to work, the way you want it to work. No programming, no additional customization, just how you configure it. You can configure labels. Account said we don't call them employees, we call them associates. Fine. We don't call them locations, we call them sites. However you want to get the labels on the screen to match your company's vocabulary, this is all configuration that can be done without programming, without IT involvement. Another example is configuring lookup tables. Lookup tables are really, really important. And if you have to call IT every time you want to add or remove, a new lookup, the users get frustrated. This approach from HQMS lets you get started quickly. Add a few. You don't have to spend, months thinking about it, and add them over time as needed, deciding on what the table contains. But just a very easy way to add them and build that table. Here's another big one, and this feature is huge. Let me repeat, huge. What I call jump to related records. Have you ever wanted to see all the related information across several modules? I'm sitting on a document record, and I want to know if we've done an audit on it. I want to know if we trained people on it. I want to know if there's any corrective actions associated with it. Throughout the app, throughout all the modules, you have this ability to jump to related records and configure what records you want to see. Configure screen labels. I mentioned this earlier about associate and employee, that kind of thing. Change the field labels. We already talked about that. Define if it's required or not required. Again, overlooked by a lot of people looking at software, and they're forced to go into an app that arbitrarily said these are required fields. Well, what if it's not required in your company? Or what if I want this one but not those? So anyhow, again, complete flexibility. But the other thing that's really, really cool is these pop-up instructions. And what that means is throughout the app, you can put specific instructions for your company, for your team, on what you want people to know about. So if they need to understand how to define class or category or any of these variables, hover pop-up construction. Again, this is another one where people have been very quickly been able to deploy and make it easy for people to use, and usually built over time. Hey, a lot of questions came up on this. Let's put in a pop-up for it. More personalized list. What this means is anytime I'm looking at a list in the app, I can go in and create data columns on the criteria I want and save it for later. If I want to save it for later, we can save it back to the my main menu. And the reason that people, our users really like this is it's kind of like Excel, where you can create columns based on the criteria you want. Seriously, I mean, it's like a report writer. It's your data, use it when you need it. Same idea for columns. So if I want, again, when I say I want, personalized, when I go in and see this, I want this information. Pick whatever fields you want and retrieve them. Put them in whatever order you want. All set up to make it easier for you to get up and running. Exporting. All reports can be sent out to spreadsheets, PDF files, Word files, text files. Anything you set up, configure can be exported. Personalize and save reports. Very similar that we just went through about how you can add filters, change the layout, change how it's sorted, applies to reports as well. So again, this is where I can go in, and if I'm working on corrective actions and I need to get a corrective action report out, every Wednesday afternoon, I can pre-configure what I want it to look like, add it to my reports. And again, I'm still on the main menu, one click, and I can do my weekly reporting. Attachments, well, everything you'd expect. You can pretty much upload anything. You can also upload to external links. That has been very helpful. A lot of clients are referencing maybe occupational safe and healthy hazard, OSHA type requirements, or any other government regs, or any other customer regs. You can now go out and say, if you want to know about this, maybe a material safety data sheet, the ability to put those all together. Well, then the question is, boy, there's a lot in here. I mean, how do we keep people up to date that don't necessarily log into the app every day? Well, there's a newsletter capability. Why is this important? Almost everyone we talk to, without a doubt, says the biggest problem we have in our company is communication, communication, communication. So you now have the ability to set up routine newsletters, if you will, about who's working on what the past due date is. Again, this is all configured, how you want it set up, how you want to do it. Another easy way to send out and update the organization on what's going on. How do I get people into this that maybe aren't set up with password and logins? Well, there's another tool called the Communications Portal, or ComPort. This is another way that HQMS allows you to provide access for your entire team without being required to license HQMS program user. Initiate records, update records, review records, everyone to have a faster way to engage. Another way to collaborate, which does not eat up user records. rights management. I'm not going to go through this in a lot of detail, but IT always wants to know about security and access. I mean, everything you would expect. Who can edit, who can delete, who can remove, who can add. Very robust, very capability for all the security rights management. Another thing that the IT department likes is they say, we already have a robust single sign-on capability that we use for all our apps. It might be going through Azure or Active Directory, whatever you're using, but not only do IT departments like this, some require it. And this is done because we can now have authentication through a familiar and shared credentials. The sync up is done to identify it, and another one is the employee left and they're out of the Active Directory. Well, they won't be able to get access to HQMS anymore. So everything that your IT department set up, and the reason they set up single sign-on, HQMS simply slides into that environment and is part of it. Too good to be true? Boy, that must be expensive. We hear that a lot, but here's what's going on. We have delivery and pricing modules tailored to meet your needs. We will do on-premise or hosted. All the pricing is based on concurrent users, not named users. That's kind of a 10-to-1 ratio. So if you're looking at tools that are asking for named users, you're going to end up spending a lot of money on people that hardly ever go into the application. We also can set up capital expenditure, operational expense pricing models, and we give you the ability to get 1, 3, or 5-year agreements. So a lot of flexibility to set up the way you want. Just as a quick note, there's a whole nother, and we have a whole nother webinar on this about the supplier portal. HQMS has a very powerful tool set designed to integrate with your ERP system that brings supplier portals with all the capability, and probably more than you'd expect, very quickly. You don't have to be $1 billion company to have a good supplier portal. And you may be saying, boy, John, this sounds good, but it's too big. It's still overwhelming. Well, HQMS has put together a pick 4 starter thing that basically says, oh, we understand that. You don't have to take it all on. Just pick 4 modules you want to start with. Common ones are, we want to start with document control, audits, training, and corrective action. Just pick them. So again, making sure that your digitization effort isn't held up by cost or by resources or any other constraints. A little more information about Harrington Group International. Been around since 1991 with already over 45,000 customers. Probably the biggest thing that I want to share is that the team has been with us for a long time as well, meaning we've got employees that have been here for decades and more. And that team is focused on developing cost-effective quality management software that evolves as your business grows. And the executives at HGI are focused, laser focused on short-term operational improvements and long-term financial results. We're hoping we got enough of your interest that you'd want to schedule a demo to go through it and discuss your needs. If you can send an email to sales@hgient.com, that would be great. And looks like we have 1 or 2 questions here. Is asking to verify that HGI does 21 CFR electronic signature. The answer is yes. And again, if you on a one-on-one call, we can go through that in a little bit more detail with you and your team. Second question is, use terms like customize, configure, and personalize. Are they all the same thing? No, they're not. Personalize is when you do things that impact how you, the individual user, see the screen. Configure is changing thing that impacts all users. And customize is when you go in and actually change it specific. All right, one last one here. I'm going to shorten it a little bit, but it basically says all that talk about employees and employees that work to report and seeing them all. What happens when the org chart changes? Good question. HQMS gives you the ability to go in and say, of course, a person's left, or maybe Susie now has been promoted to Director of Quality, and her new reports are these 5 people. You can simply go in, change that relationship, and everything ripples around it, and everything feels the same. Thank you so much for your time. Look forward to hearing from you.